If I could take a piece of this with me everywhere I went, it would be the sound of the waves crashing up on the shore. It's such a melodic tone for me. It's like liquid gold. I mean, if you think about it, the water is where all of the sun rays are captured and recorded. Water is able to bend light. You guys, I don't think you understand what that means. That means that water has the ability to physically alter a light beam. I mean,
I can tell you right now.
if that's not magical, what is? And not only that, they say that water can hold more memory than a computer, and that it stores more information than any other known natural or artificial man-made device on earth. Like, water stores more information than anything that we know of. You know what that means? That means that water is recording the earth's histrionics, sound waves, and sound is what created everything. So there you have it, guys. Like, that is your largest computer in the world right there. Your largest storage device right before our eyes, right there. That's why the majority of the world is water. Look at all of those waves. I mean, look at how you can see the frequency of sound in the water. Those are sound waves, guys. And if only you could tune in and hear what they're saying. That's the magic that's coming back to people today. It's the ability to understand what nature is telling us. Like, to have an ear to understand and hear and listen to nature is the greatest accomplishment of my entire existence on this 3D plane. Especially in today's time. So look at all of the different ways nature talks to us, and listen to it, because it's bringing us home. It's allowing us to see colors. I said that wrong. It's allowing us to see sound and what it's capable of, and hear colors, and understand how to read them and understand their language. Everything is a symbol for something, and it's a code. You have to be able to tune in to subtle frequencies to hear the code and unlock it. And I swear, like, a creation story came to me so detailed, so unbelievably explainable, and so beautiful, incredible, that I'm going to have to write it down and possibly make another movie out of it, like Miss Sophia Stewart wrote The Third Eye, which Warner Brothers and Paramount Films, I think it was, all of them stole from her and stole her creation. But us Black women have the ability to get these downloads about the future and about what our ancestors stored deep in our DNA by the symbols and the sounds that we see all around us. We may not be able to consciously interpret some of these symbols, but once you look at them, it unlocks something in your subconscious mind, and it starts bringing it to the surface every day. And possibly traveling to Egypt was the best decision that I ever made in my life back in 2017, because there were so many symbols that just embedded themselves inside of me and started using me as a tool to receive messages from another plane. And like literally right now I live in a plane in my mind that I've created in this physical reality to not have a menstrual cycle as a woman. You guys, like that was the first time I could see something that I'd set my mind to accomplish that was somehow or seemingly once impossible to me to do, how I was able to do it. And it literally blew my mind. At the age of 37, I was able to physically stop myself from bleeding without any medications, no pills, no, what is it called? I can't even remember, but it's like the device that women have, they stick inside of them to keep from having a menstrual cycle. So harsh to our bodies. I don't take any hormone pills or any medication from our pharmaceutical industry, for sure. So I rid myself of all toxins first, you know. Not an aspirin, not a Tylenol. I just knew that somehow my body could heal itself and I didn't need that shit. And guess what? I did. I did that with my mind. I healed my body. All of the women in my mother's side of the family have had hysterectomies before the age of 40 and had cysts on their ovaries and had to have them removed, and polyps and all of these things. And I was like, you know, what the fuck is happening here? Is this something that's being done to them, or are they doing it to themselves? Like, what's going on? And something told me just to stop eating the food. Stop eating the same food they eat, and you won't have the same issues. You won't get the same diseases. And I listened to it, and it guided me to what to eat, because I didn't know. You know, I grew up on pork chop, ham, bacon, sausage, neck bones, like all of this shit that we eat growing up, not thinking that it's gonna have any effects on our bodies. The first thing that we're taught that should go inside our temple was another animal. And that shit amazes me, because we're all animals. Imagine if all of us animals were eating each other. What do you call those? Carnivores? You know, we're cannibals. If we can even eat another animal, another mammal, especially in our own like kingdom, you know, that's very carnivorous. And so I had a vision that the reason these animals now that are carnivores in this world are becoming extinct is because, well, some of our carnivorous, let me just stop being fancy. Some of our carnivore ways have kind of started to disappear. Carnivorous, that's it. I knew it would come to me eventually, but once we make a shift mentally that we're not going to eat each other, then the carnivores of the world start to disappear, because we're all connected in a way that us being generators, operators, and dissolvers, us being God, you know, that's a title, people. It's not a person. It's not just one person. It's not one thing. God is everything, and the process of everything is titled God, generator, operator, and destroyer, because we all have the ability to generate, operate within that creation that we generated, and destroy it, you know? We all have that ability. And so as gods, I mean, it only seems natural to want to live up to your name, you know? And when you harm yourself or don't love yourself, or do harmful things to yourself without consciously being aware of it, that's something we got to be conscious of today. How we're hurting ourselves. How are we hurting ourselves? And so I knew that whatever was guiding me in my gut, you know, I knew that that had to be more connected to the God inside of me than anything else. So I just started listening to it, and I stopped eating meat for like, oh sorry, I got distracted. I stopped eating meats, and then I started eating more vegetables, more every vegetable that I hated growing up, pretty much. I started to cook different ways, try different ways, and put seasonings on it to satisfy my taste buds, which, you know, are historic and ancient. And so I started putting things in there, seasonings I never heard of before, from all over the world. And before I knew it, I was feeling like a chemist, and I was mixing butters and creams together and creating my own lotions. I was creating my own soap and body oils, hair washing products, deodorants. I just knew that everything inside of that store that was being sold to me was putting harmful chemicals in my body in some way and was causing me to bleed. Because in the Bible, there's this verse that says that a woman is sick when she's bleeding. And now, as I got older, I understand the sickness is toxicity. Toxicity causes us to bleed. And we are toxic in every way because of the toxic chemicals that build up in our pores from the soaps that we use, and causes us to not be able to sweat, not be able to get rid of our toxins. It gets stuck in our pores, and then it causes skin problems, and it causes you to stink. This is this is the root of most of our issues and how we age so quickly. But, you know, this is all the things that were being told to me and coming to me, and I just listened. It showed me everything. So I stopped using all of those products from the store, and I noticed that some issues I was having just started to clear right up. And I was like, wow, my body is healing itself when I stop hurting it. What else can I heal it from? How else am I harming it? So I realized the toothpaste that I was using, most of the major brands, like the fluoride in them, was causing me to not be able to think on the level that I should be thinking on. It wasn't allowing me to connect with, the highest part of myself. That's something we put in our mouths every day, which is extremely important. So when you put fluoride in something that we unconsciously put in our mouths every day, what are your intentions? Because fluoride is the same chemical that was used in Nazi Germany. They were used against the Jews to dull their thinking capabilities down. It was put in the water. And fluoride does some harmful things to your brain, especially starts to make your body create more calcium to start, because calcium is leached out in our bodies whenever our bodies are toxic to try to help with the toxicity. But if you start depleting your bones and your teeth whenever you have so much calcium stored up in your body, because it's an acidic nature to kill off things, that is not supposed to be there. But, you know, instead, the things that, you know, attack our bodies, they can outlive the acidity. They can still invade our bodies and lay dormant, you know, and attack us from the inside out. You know, these are the things that they put in our day-to-day supplies that's causing us to get sick, not to mention the things that they're putting inside of the animals we eat, you know. I mean, come on, guys. The pharmaceutical industry sells more drugs to the animal industry and food industry than they do to us humans. So do you not realize we're all getting addicted to our food? They're not giving you addictive medications directly, they're giving it to you indirectly. They're putting it in your food, and then you can't stop eating when you're full because you're addicted. Don't you think you consciously would stop eating when you were full if you knew that you were full? So they make these chemicals that bypass our system to be able to like naturally detect our fullness and stop eating. You have people eating themselves to 3, 4, 5, and 600 pounds. That's not sane. That's an addiction. And we get addicted to so many things that we're not even really conscious of as an addiction. We just think it's natural because everybody else around us is doing it. But something was telling me, don't do it. Go the other way. There's something wrong with this picture. Take a deeper look. And I started looking into the ingredients in the food, and I started seeing that whey, caramel color, soybean oil, what else? Citric acid, aspartame, all of these ingredients that are in almost everything we eat. Milk especially is like in everything we eat. And don't you know that the only way you can get milk is to steal it from a cow that has just given birth to a 60 or 70 pound baby. And that milk is meant for a 60 or 70 pound calf, not for a 15 pound 2-year-old. Imagine giving something meant for a cow that weighs 60 or 70 pounds to a baby that's just turned 1 year old. It's too much protein for his little body, and it's too much protein for us. And that's why most of us are lactose intolerant, because that lactose is a sugar that our body cannot tolerate. It's not meant to go inside of our bodies. That's what that means. So that's why cow milk has the ability to make us overweight by blocking our cells with fat that our bodies can't process. And that fat builds up and turns into plaque and hardens. When it hardens, and they're having fun out there. When it hardens, the sugar that we eat can't get to our cells, so our cells starve. But as we're starving, we're gaining weight. So on the outside, it looks like we're overeating. But inside, we're really starving because we're not able to give our bodies what it needs. We're not able to absorb the things our cells need to reproduce, to work, to replicate, to do their job. You know, our cells die, and our cells are what make us up, guys. Like, there's a billion, trillion cells in our body, you know, and those cells record everything about us and about our family history. And when you don't replicate the cells the same way, if you become toxic, then your cells, they get weaker and weaker, and they live shorter and shorter lifespans. And before you know it, instead of living 900 years, you're only able to live 90 years. Well, this is it, guys. Like, we're getting down to the final chapter where we're going to start dying at 40, and then pretty soon we're going to start being ill at what, 30, and then 20, and then what happens after that? So we gotta make a change. We want to save ourselves, save our people, save our DNA, save our everything. Look what I just created. While I was talking to you guys. So this is what happens when, there we go. This is what happens when I'm being tapped into, okay? This is what happens when I'm having downloads. Like, my mind starts creating symbols, and I'm able to read these symbols, and I'm able to just, you know, interpret what's flowing through me. It's incredible. But it guides me, it leads me, and I know that you all, we started talking about something in the beginning. I think I was explaining how I was able to live in a world without a menstrual cycle, and I kind of got sidetracked, like way off, but it all flows together, it all goes together in the end. And so when you eat all of these toxins, and you know, you eat all these medications that have been, not just the ones you are prescribed, but the ones that are inside of the animals you eat, then your body gets toxic, and it starts changing your ability to comprehend. Like, it starts changing your body's ability to communicate with itself properly. I love that they're having fun out there. Like, this is so rewarding for me to see. Okay, so basically something is telling me to go ahead and cut this video short, because I listened to Spirit, and I guess I need to be enjoying this instead of being on the phone the entire time. So I guess there will be a part 2. Peace, beloveds.